Fire, one of the largest south of Malibu, has charged some 5,000 acres and is not contained. ABC's Matt Gutman is there.
Firefighters attacking the more than 2,900-acre wildfire from the ground and the air, but the fire exploding everywhere seemingly at once. A Santa Ana wind event the National Weather Service called the worst in over a decade, turbocharging the fire. And that wildfire sparing no one, no vehicle or structure safe across Los Angeles County.
Continue on Tacoma Boulevard for half a mile. In a
the sweeping ground leading to the famed Getty Museum, and the winds expected to worsen throughout the day. This is ABC News. 97.7 FM and AM 1000 at all news all the time for Seattle, Tacoma, Bellevue, and beyond. The Northwest's only all-news station.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. It is 10:31. One person is dead following an officer-involved shooting outside the Costco in Marysville.
According to the Snohomish County SMART team, a Marysville police officer was conducting a traffic stop when the car that was stopped took off and dragged the officer along with it. That car then rammed into the side of the Costco building on the south side and burst into flames.
During the altercation, shots were fired by a Marysville police officer. The dragged officer sustained minor injuries and was transported to a nearby hospital. The suspect did die at the scene.
Out of precaution, businesses in the area did administer a brief lockdown, including Costco, which kept employees and shoppers inside the building until officials gave that all clear.
Tacoma Hannah Knowles in Marysville.
at the light, turn left onto South Oak
underway
Street.
in an officer-involved shooting from 2018. As Coma Kelly Koopman reports, the incident began with a traffic stop in Seattle's Litkin Springs neighborhood for an illegal lane change.
King County will launch a new inquest into the circumstances in the death of Yussia Falatog. Prosecutors say Falatog, who is then 36, was trying to surrender to Seattle police when he was shot in the head along Aurora Avenue North on New Year's Eve in 2018. Before the shooting, police had stopped Falatog and was chased by 6 officers. The confusion happened when the officer thought he was reaching for a gun, which later was revealed to be stolen. This case is just one of the country's oldest unreviewed police-involved homicides. Among the findings is whether an officer followed their training and protocol.
The victim's family was paid a $500,000 settlement in a civil rights lawsuit with the city. Heads up, if you're a nighttime driver, I-90 in Bellevue will be down to 2 lanes in both directions the next 2 nights between 405 and 142nd Place Southeast.
WashDOT crews will be installing bridge girders for the next 2 nights. Lane reductions will impact drivers from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Eastbound I-90 off-ramp to 142nd will also be closed during those times. The construction is part of the project to build 4 new bridges across Sunset Creek.
Coma Preston Phillips. And if you're headed towards Portland later this morning, be ready for significant delays on I-5 in Calhoun County. Crews planning on closing 2 of the 3 southbound lanes of the freeway between 9 and noon today. They're repairing a massive dip in the road. The work will be near Kelso and expect backup. It is 10:34. Time to head on over to the High Performance Homes Traffic Center and check in with Jared Sorello.
Traffic still pretty slow in the Seattle area if you're on the main line coming north, passing Boeing Field, northbound I-5. Still about an 8 to 10 minute delay from the north side of Boeing Field, about Albro Place and Swift Avenue there, all the way into the downtown area. So be careful there, slow it down. Of course, you're going to be slow anyway. It's moderate to heavy congestion there. And in the Renton area, also about a 10-minute delay on 405 northbound between 167 and 44th Street. So if you're headed up to the Newcastle area, you can expect heavy congestion, even stop and go at some times. The only accident, that's in the South Hill area, but it is a big one. Canyon Road southbound, all lanes are closed between 136th and 144th Street. So police are advising drivers to avoid the area altogether, but especially the southbound lanes of Canyon Road there in South Hill. With Northwest Traffic, I'm Jared Sorello.
And your weather is sponsored by Northwest Crawl Space Services. Let's check in with George.
Good morning to you. Hope your Wednesday is going well. Fairly quiet weather with some afternoon sun, upper 40s. Starting to get colder, mid-30s in Seattle. Some neighborhoods, though, closer to freezing. So, slick spots possible tomorrow morning. And be ready for morning fog tomorrow. It will lift. We'll have some afternoon sun, followed by rain tomorrow night into Friday. A little breezy Friday as well. In the Tacoma Weather Center, I'm meteorologist George Waldenberger, KOMO 4 News.
In Fife, we have 44 degrees, as well as Issaquah, 43 degrees in Seattle. It is 10:36. Here's some stories we're following. Staffing problems are starting to turn around at the Seattle Police Department.
Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell says changes made to bring in more officers at the police department are working. New figures released by the mayor's office say the number of officers coming into the department is higher than those leaving. They say that hasn't happened since 2019. The mayor points to new digital advertising to reach new recruits and simplifying the hiring process to bring down the wait time in hiring from 5 to 9 months to 3 to 5 months. Also, back in October, the City Council approved boosting hiring bonuses for lateral police officers to $50,000. Mike Solon, the president of the Seattle Police Officers Guild, said at the time the move was part of a shift in city leadership.
We haven't had this type of support in over 10 years. We love that support. We embrace it.
The Seattle Police Department says it has also taken steps to keep current officers on the force by hiring an on-staff mental health professional
In a
and
quarter
developing
mile,
what they
turn
call
right onto
a
South
wellness
74th
unit.
Street.
KOMO 4's Theron Zahn. An Army doctor at Madigan Army Medical Center has pleaded guilty to sexually abusing dozens of patients. Major Michael Stockton, an anesthesiologist, inappropriately touched male patients during exams, often without gloves, leaving victims traumatized. Attorney Ryan Guild spoke with
At the light, turn right onto South 74th Street.
Difficult journey, make no mistake, for the survivors, for the victims in these cases. All men, all Army who hide their feelings, generally, who don't want to admit that they were a victim of a sexual offense, but also a lot of guilt about not coming forward sooner.
Stockton was barred from seeing patients in 2022 as the investigation began. He faces at least 9 years in prison when he's sentenced later this month. A Seattle tutor is arrested for the alleged rape of a child.
Continue on
and
South
fired
74th Street
from a
for half a
nonprofit.
mile.
KOMO 4's Lynn Ann Wynn is following the case.
Gregory Ward worked as a program manager for AmeriCorps and at City Year, providing tutoring to students at Aki Kuros Middle School. The 13-year-old victim told police Ward exchanged explicit texts and photos with her, and on December 30th, they met up at a local restaurant in Rainier Valley, where he allegedly assaulted her in the
quarter
bathroom.
mile, turn
The
left
victim's
onto South
family
Tacoma
told
WA.
police that she had told them that she was going to go hang out with friends, but when she'd been gone for several hours, they tracked her location to Rainier Valley. Despite Ward's lack of criminal history, prosecutors asked the judge to hold him in custody with restrictive measures in place should he be able to make bail. Ward does remain in custody on a $250,000 bail.
Ward is expected
At the
to
light,
appear in
turn
court
left onto South
January
Tacoma WA.
16th to enter a plea. A center to help homeless people has delayed its relocation time from Seattle's Chinatown International District to Pioneer Square neighborhood. KOMO 4's Jeremy Harris is following that story.
There was a ray of hope for people in the Chinatown International District when they heard the Navigation Center was planned to close by the end of January. Well, we've now confirmed the timeline for that closure is being pushed back 2 months until the end of March, when the new downtown Star Center...
In a quarter mile, turn left.
...move some of those treatment services out of Little Saigon in the Chinatown International District. So what impact is that delay going to have? Well, today we're talking with residents and advocates for the CID area. They're frustrated by the closure because they thought this would happen sooner, and they were hoping it would move some of the problems out of their neighborhood. Reporting in downtown, Jeremy Harris.
Take the next left, then turn right.
A Mariners nemesis moves out of the American League West. More from Bill Sports in Beacon Plumbing Sports Update.
He's made 39 appearances against Seattle. Justin Verlander has 22 wins, 10 losses, 275 strikeouts. The three-time Cy Young winner has reportedly left Houston to join San Francisco, pending a physical. 42-year-old Verlander to make $15 million next season. MLB Network's John Morosi reports the Mariners could be more willing to trade frontline starter Luis Castillo if they can sign Japanese superstar Roki Sasaki.